Well, let's just go ahead and begin with something. I was like, okay, we're doing this our second time around because
Right,
unfortunately the video didn't record the first time and we had such a fantastic conversation.
right.
So just please pardon me if I ask anything that we have already previously discussed. I just feel like the audience really truly missed out on a fantastic conversation that we previously had.
Great. Okay. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm sure whatever we talked about, it's back there. So whatever, it'll all be new to me. So
Okay.
good.
That sounds good. That sounds good. I'm just turning this on here. So, while I was preparing for our conversation today, I realized there was something that I forgot to congratulate you on.
Hmm.
You received an honor of having a street named after you in your hometown.
Yeah, that was very nice. I grew up in Benton Harbor, Michigan,
Mhm.
and when the city was sort of settled, most of the blacks came up from the south to work the fields,
Okay.
and some didn't go back, but they kept uh, the black people, for the most part, outside the city limits. And so the government built two housing projects. They built a white project, so
Wow.
weird, and they had the
Yeah.
black project, and the black project was right on the city line. They kind of
Yeah.
carved out a little space. So we're in the projects. We were right on the city line, and so we were the first blacks, pretty much, to go to
Wow.
integrate the schools. And it sounds like it was a long time ago, but in this country, that's our
Right.
history. Um, and so coming out of the projects, you go, there's a street that kind of goes through town, um, and I always saw, sort of leaving the projects, walking down this, which is called Bus Avenue. And
Okay.
so the city said they wanted to honor me by naming one of the streets, but they picked a street that I had no personal connection to. And I said, I'd much rather have it be that street that I travel every day, because you had to come out of there, to
Yes.
so so they did, and it was, I do consider it an honor. And it was when we when I was to the ceremony for
Yeah.
the street, they had some lot of you know officials from representatives from the state house and the local. But I was really happy to see that a vast majority were people from the community, people from the projects, and I saw a lot of little kids. And so yeah, it was very, very special.
Yes, I'm sure it was because that is such a huge thing. And I'm glad that you kind of spoke up for yourself as well, saying, no, I would like to have it somewhere where I have a personal connection.
Right.
Because, some people would just be like, okay, I'm just happy I'm getting this street and they'll just take anything. So
Yeah.
shout
Yeah.
out to you for that.
Well, thank you. It was yeah, to me it was kind of important. And I saw when I was back there, because I don't go back a lot, and when I do go back, it's mostly to see family, and I don't go
Right.
through the old neighborhoods, and I don't, I'm just there for a couple of days and I leave. But I saw so many kids, and so much hasn't changed.
Mhm.
So many of those kids reminded me of me. um, and it was, yeah, it was very, very moving for me anyway. So
I'm sure that was. Mr. Hudson, you are a true Hollywood veteran. You have nearly 300 acting credits to your name. And I was like, okay, we're going to chat again. I have to find something cool for us to talk about. And your first acting role was in 1976.
well, we're looking at
Or is that
TV.
accurate?
Yeah, no, that's not really accurate. Because sometimes they will list credits. You might shoot a thing in 73 and it comes out in 75. So things
Got
are a
it.
little mixed up. And so for the first, I would say, almost 10 years, I
Mhm.
was on stage before I got a chance to. So
Mm.
from 76 to, I mean, from 67 till 76, that was always, doing plays, a lot of plays in
Right.
school, and sort of getting my sort of equity credentials, and just sort of starting out. And then I got to Hollywood, and got started. But the first real movie role was with Gordon Parks
Okay.
in a movie called Lead Belly, and that was in '74.
Okay. So they have the wrong credit on there for that one then.
Well, they may, yeah. They sometimes IMDb they don't ask you about what's they kind of gather it
Hmm.
all, and so that movie was we shot it in '74, but it didn't come out until probably '76. I'm not sure which credit
Okay.
they give,
Okay.
but yeah. So that was kind of my movies and television sort of
Mhm.
introduction, and Gordon Parks, did Shaft and um, did a bunch of. He was just an amazing director and composer and just an incredible man. But so that was my first, like I said, first introduction to film and television.
I want to ask you, did you always know that you wanted to be an actor, or did it kind of like, did you just kind of find your way into acting?
I think, yeah, I found I kind of hesitate or as to how I answer that question because you always know there's a part of you. I was always sort of acting, and as a
Yeah.
kid, I would take a broomstick and I'd make it into a little fake gun, and I was always trying to get friends to sort of play out these roles. But as we were growing up, a lot of friends kind of outgrew that, faster
Right,
than I
right.
did. So I just really have a lot of friends. But there's a part of you that always, kind of are fascinated by whatever it is you eventually will do. But I really had no idea how you would become an actor. Who do you
Yeah.
have to know? What is I didn't know anybody even remotely connected to any form of entertainment. And it wasn't until I graduated from high school, got married, worked a bunch of jobs that I hated. We went to Detroit,
Okay.
and I got in school at Wayne State University that I stumbled on acting. I went to a play by accident,
Mm.
and I saw this play, and I was so blown away by it. I just felt so like, oh my God, this is, if I could do this, if I could
Yeah.
just, God, oh man, but it was almost too big to even ask for. I mean, I saw these actors on stage, and I thought that to be able to just, to, it was just too much. But that coming semester, I needed an elective, and they had an acting class. And the first day of class, I walked on the stage, and I was at home. You know what I mean? I knew,
Yeah.
like, this is this. I know I can do this. I got this. I mean, and then, you hear the stories. Actors, it's hard to make a living. Most custodians in theaters make more money than the actors do because it's so inconsistent. But I
Right.
thought, this is where this is where I belong. And
Yeah.
I will, that prayer that God, if you bless me to do this, I will honor it. I will show up on time. I will never take it for granted. I just give. Now, when you're saying that prayer, it's probably
Yes.
wise to ask for some money too, but
And by the way, Jesus.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Let me make a good living at it. But that wasn't part. I just wanted to do it, to be a part. I
Yeah.
admired the actors and what they did, and I was always fascinated how they could take on these characters and tell a story. That the first play I saw, I mentioned, I stumbled into it. I'd had
Mhm.
an argument with my wife, and I just had to get out of there. And I got in my car and I was driving around. We're living in Detroit, and I drove past this place that a lot of people lined up, and I was just kind of curious as what was going on. So I parked the car and went over, and they said there was a play. I never seen a professional play. We had plays
Wow.
in church, but
Yeah.
never
Yes.
see
Yes.
professional. So I didn't want to go home, so I got in line and went in, and the curtain went up, and this play unfolded, and it was about a daughter whose father was a pastor, and she was seeing this man, and the father disowned her, and then in the end they reconciled. But I was in tears. I sat
Wow.
there crying. I was so moved. I was just,
Mhm.
it just touched me so deeply. So when I finally got a chance to yeah, to act, to be like I said, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about anything. It was about, I just
Right.
want to do this. Of course, it probably helped that I had this wonderful director producer. His name was Earl D.A. Smith, but um, I think I was one of the stronger, physically stronger people in the company. So we did a play. It was an African folktale called "How the Snake Got Its Rattles," and I
Mm.
played God. So
Okay.
so
Okay.
it
Okay.
and the newspaper picked it up because it was a wonderful little production, and they gave it a great review. But they mentioned my performance, and so all those things helped to add to this is home, this is where I belong, and one way or the other. And that's all I've really done
Yeah.
since. I mean, I've always made a living as an actor. A few years I took on a little this or that to kind of hustle and keep, you know. But yeah, so that's my acting stories is where once I found it, I knew that there's nothing else that yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. And my grandmother who raised me said that God is personal. You can ask
Yes.
and expect an answer. And I knew
Mhm.
that and to not trust, but not to trust in man, to not trust anyone. And so never give up everything you have to someone to get this. Trust God.
Yes.
And so that's always been sort of I know there's a way. He'll make a way out of no way. And I know that somehow this will unfold. And now that I've been doing it for, quite a long time,
Yes.
it it didn't turn out sometimes the way in my fantasy hoped it would be. But it's been wonderful and
Mhm.
in the way that it is. And then
Yeah.
I think I have to, not I think I have to accept that I went through two bouts of cancer, but the last one was very. It was just I was very close to dying because the
Yeah.
doctor made some bad.
Yeah.
He messed up, and but I think in that moment you really have to make peace with maybe this is it, and maybe this in and of itself has been wonderful, and imagining something else that is not part of your journey, that's not uh and after that I think I really sort of made peace with, let me just enjoy whatever this journey is, and I don't necessarily get to determine all the details. What I
Right.
mean? It's
Right.
like there are blessings there that don't appear to be blessings that I don't necessarily want, and there are lessons to be learned, and so it's not it's not incomplete or disaster if it doesn't look the way that I imagined that it should look. So um,
I really appreciate you for saying that because I'm kind of literally going through that now, where we have this idea of how things are supposed to play out, how things are supposed to take place. And then when it doesn't, it feels like we're off course or it feels like we're not hitting our marks.
right, yeah,
When it's like, no, I have to remember that God is in control.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's like we often in our arrogance, we think we're in control.
that's right,
And so once we
yeah,
surrender that control, then it's less stress on us,
right,
to take
absolutely,
let Jesus take the wheel.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
absolutely,
So
yes. Yeah, that's I don't know if it's getting older. Some people sort of understand it naturally, but yeah, and him taking the wheel, I can now look around and see the things that bring me joy. I don't have to be so focused on and determined to control this thing. I can really appreciate right now. But it's hard to do that when you plan this and that fell apart. Now you got to, and I got to try to coerce these people into doing something that they probably don't want to do. But if you can get them to do it, then this will mean this and that.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that has not been. We all, it's like I said, we all go through it. We all want
Yes.
certain things, and we all want to believe we're in control. But And then if you live long enough, and I've been around for a while, you know, that thing that you thought you wanted to look that way, you begin to see into that, and you realize that no, that was not something that I wanted. You know, the price that was
Right.
paid for that, I don't think I'd want to pay that price. So I'm very, very happy and thankful for to not have had to make those compromises.
Yes.
You know that, yeah. So
And it's funny because I had prepared a question and I was going to be like, oh, Mr. Hudson, what do you think is the key to your longevity in Hollywood in a space that isn't always so gracious to us? And you just showed us, you just
uh,
explained it so beautifully. You know, acting is your passion. You can see it. You light up when you talk about acting.
yeah,
And it's the mindset and the energy that you took into it that I believe, me personally, is the key to your success.
yeah,
You're going into it, giving it your heart and your mind and just all the good things. And then you are allowing God to be in control.
yes, yeah. That, yeah, I think so. And I've been offered the opportunity. I'm a executive producer on the family business, but I don't
Yes.
really. I mean, they do that. It was more of a title that they gave me
Hmm.
because they needed me on the show, and I'm
Right.
thankful for that.
Yes.
But acting is kind of. I'm still trying to, you know, to kind of get it right. It's still. I'm still fascinated by it, and I
Yeah.
have friends who have moved into directing and producing and doing other things, and but I'm still trying to kind of get this one, you know.
Yeah,
So
and that's so
uh
surprising to me to hear you say that. It's
yeah,
surprising to me, but also it shows your true passion about it. When
yeah,
you're passionate about something, you always want to continue to grow in it, and you
yes,
wanna learn more, and it's almost like that childlike, just
yeah,
fascination with it, and I'm
right,
so happy that after all of these years and all of the great roles and performances that you have given us that you still have that. Absolutely love that.
oh well, thank you. That's yeah, I it's just yeah, I'm working on a show now, and um I was kind of going, well, you know, it's I'm the grandfather here, and then I'm working with two wonderful Brandon Sanier and Brandon Margolis. We're doing this thing called Boston Blue,
Yes.
and they've kind of they're writing this wonderful character who's a minister,
Mhm.
and his issues with his daughter who's a DA, and his grandchildren who are in the police department, but those relationships and just the you know the things you've just life and
Yeah.
um you know we as a kid I would look my grandmother would say even though everybody if you look at every household it's a whole different kind of world of reality, you know, what you think everybody lives the same way you do and everybody
Mhm.
learns the same lessons you do, but they don't.
They don't.
And it's all kind of this mix that we're all a part of. It's all, you know, it's all us as human beings. But I'm fascinated um, about how the choices we feel compelled sometimes to make,
Mhm.
and not be able to rely, to be able to trust that divine guidance, and not
Yeah.
a lot of people have that, and it seems it's to me it just seems so common sense, but I realize that, like I said, we all have different. We come into it differently, and we go out of it differently, and some
Yeah.
things. But you know, that's the you know the wonderful thing about life, I guess.
Yeah. So when I was preparing for our conversation today, I was thinking to myself, and it just brought back the sweetest memory. And I thought, and I said, I have to make sure that I tell Mr. Hudson that, yes, with this fantastic career and all of these fantastic performances that you have given us, that you are a part of one of my most sweetest childhood memories. I still remember the day that my aunt took me to see Ghostbusters. And it's just like, and it's just funny how life goes full circle. And
Right,
now I'm actually sitting here speaking to you. At the little girl in that movie theater would have never ever have thought that
right,
I would be sitting here speaking to you today. When you're out and about, which roles do the fans usually come up to you as excited about? Because you have literally touched every single generation. So it's not like I can say, oh, well, all the people run up to you and say, oh my gosh, who you gonna call?
Right.
Or they're gonna run up and say, oh my
Right.
goodness, Mr. Duncan, Mr. Duncan.
Right.
You have had all these fantastic roles over the years. What are some of the roles that people get most excited about when they approach you when you're out and about?
Yeah, that's interesting because I have friends who we started around the same time. Denzel and a lot of the guys
Yeah.
who are still doing it. But a lot of them were very fortunate to, or maybe I wasn't fortunate, where Hollywood or whoever make those decisions
Mhm.
saw them as something. This is the action guy, so that's what they do. Or this is the guy. I think they sort of tailor made. It feels like they tailor made projects for
Mhm.
them. He's handsome and he's a romantic guy, and that's what he does. And I've always felt like the guy who I'm just trying to get a job. You know what I mean? If it's dramatic, I got to go in here in this
Mhm.
audition and make somebody cry.
Right.
I gotta show my. If it's funny, somebody better be laughing by the time I
Right.
leave. So a lot of the roles are a little different, which is what I love about acting.
Mhm.
So what's happened is over the years, there are different fans who connect to something and not even know about the other stuff. Of course,
Mhm.
Ghostbusters is that reached that broad audience where little kids, parents introduce their kids and their grandkids, and so I'll get that is kind of every day. Anytime I'm on the street, somebody will yell, "Who you gonna call?" or
Sorry, I got mine
uh,
in.
you know. And if I'm in a town somewhere and people find out I'm there, somebody will show up in their Ghostbuster jumpsuit and their backpacks. And so I'm just so honored to have that. But on
Mhm.
the other hand, there are a lot of, there's a certain age group who love The Crow. I did The Crow with Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee, yes.
And people love that movie. And so I get a lot of, but that's a movie that's a certain genre and a certain age group,
Mhm. Yep.
whereas Ghostbusters kind of crossed all
Right.
ages. So, but The Crow is The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. A lot
Oh,
of
that was
the,
good. Did you
you
see
know,
they're remaking it?
I saw that. I
And
saw
I'm
that. Yeah.
upset because someone needed to call you.
Yeah. No, they, I never quite know why you do a
I
reboot, a remake. Just make another movie. I don't get what, we
Yeah,
tried that with Ghostbusters, and I'm like, wait,
yeah,
just it's later on, so
yeah,
why you can't redo what's already. Anyway, they don't ask my opinion, but the Hand Rocks the Cradle is one. Congo is one. I think a lot of
yeah,
people loved
yeah.
Congo and loved the character,
Mhm.
and then sometimes somebody. I was in France, and these people started yelling, "Half dead, half dead." This movie Penitentiary 2 that we made, which we
Ugh,
thought it
and
was.
and I have to give you a shout out for Oz. Oz, the way Oz had me in a chokehold, Mr. Hudson, I
Uh,
know I ain't have no business watching Oz to the point where I wanted to be an inmate for a little bit. That's one of the series that I feel like belongs in the HBO Hall of Fame.
that
Like
well, thank
Oz,
you.
yes,
Yeah.
that series was so raw and so gritty, and it was just, oh, everything about it. I missed
Thank
that
you.
show.
Well, thank you. I think out of Oz, Edie Falco went on to
Yes.
do Sopranos and The Wire. A lot of shows kind of came out, but Oz, I think, sort of, broke that mold and kind of set the trend. So I was very, very honored to be on that show, and it's just great. Like I said, I love actors,
Mhm.
um, and just some wonderful actors. It was, but Oz is another one,
Yeah.
So Miss Congeniality, I saw
Oh,
that lady
yes.
yesterday. Love Miss Congeniality. Oh, she just so. Yeah, that's a blessing, but you know, I a couple of days ago, a guy saw a movie called Space Hunter. That some
Okay.
movies, not a lot of it doesn't, they don't get a big, but people still.
Mhm.
The magic about movies is they stay around. Leviathan. Somebody mentioned
Yes.
that the other day. So I get a little bit of different just people who, or sometimes there was a guy came up to me and he was telling me about a movie I did. And he said, "Oh, you did this Stranger in the Kingdom," and I said, "No, that wasn't me. I'm sure it was somebody else." He said, "No, no, it was you." And I said, "No, probably it was." He said, "No." He said, "And so when you came in there and with these guys and they were in this room and you came in and he started describing the scene, and then I
Mhm.
flashed back and I thought, oh my God, yeah, I did do that movie. Yeah, it was me,
See,
but
that's
somehow
a
it didn't.
testament.
You move
That is
on
a
and."
testament.
You think you hold on to these. I used to say I never forget a line. I never forget a
Yeah.
line, no matter how long ago. That's good for the first 10 years maybe. But
Right,
after
right,
that,
right.
like, I try to forget them as quick as I can. Once they're over,
Mhm.
once we're done with that, I don't need to put it in my mind. But yeah, no. And people they draw their own meaning from it, and so I'm never
Mhm.
sure what they're seeing. It
Right.
becomes a bit of a problem, or not a problem, but an issue when I know how I deal with it, but my children, I have four
Mhm.
sons and I have grandkids and great
Mhm.
grandkids. So how people see them based on what they think of me, or
Okay.
then it gets a little messy and a little confusing, and so I don't know. Um, but I,
Yeah.
nobody ever give you a lesson about how to deal with this industry. You just
Right.
have to hold on to who you are, and like I said, know where it comes from, and give
Mhm.
thanks always.
Yeah.
And but yeah, no, it's interesting.
I want to go back to something that you said. You mentioned how there are certain actors that whomever is in power, they decide like he's going to be our action guy, he's going to be our romantic comedy guy, he's going to be our I don't know, our tyrant.
Right.
If you had a choice if you had a choice in the guy that Mr. Ernie Hudson would be in Hollywood, what would that look like?
Well, I love character actors because they can change up and they can create these different characters. But I also love the leading man because he carries the film, and I
Mhm.
always wanted to do both. And yeah, I thought, well, when it comes to action guys, I see guys get action roles. I'm like, really? Because in fact, lately with this whole physical fitness thing, and
Oh, yeah, we get into that
people
too,
go, well, yeah,
Mr.
well, I'm like,
Hudson.
all these years, like, guys, I mean, I can do that, but it's like they will. Somehow Hollywood did not want to see me that way, or it felt like that. I mean, I've done a
Yeah,
couple of things where, but it's like, really, because I think I think I can do that. Or the leading man. I had an agent once who I was saying, I don't understand why I'm not up for these roles,
yeah.
and she said, "Oh, well, Denzel and Howard Rollins, they're the Adonises of the black race. You can't expect to get what they're getting." Um, so I
Wow.
fired her after that. But
I know that's real. Yep.
people see, and sometimes I think it's an energy.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I think, yeah, I want to get the lady, and I want to be the guy who can do stuff, and I want to do, but I kind of want to do it all. And maybe also one of the things I learned from Denzel early on was you really got to say, this is what I want to do, and all the other stuff you don't do.
okay.
So, a little bit of his Hollywood seeing that way, but a little bit of them saying, this is how I want to be seen.
Mhm.
I when I got it, when I first discovered acting, we talked about,
Yeah,
I had children, so I got kids, and when my first marriage ended, very very early, the kids came with me. So a
okay.
lot of that, I may want to be the action hero, but you got a guy in here who was a little bit, you know, not all that, but he's just the uncle. But I need this job. I
Gotta
got
put
to pay
food
the
on the
rent.
table.
I gotta get some gas in the car. I gotta feed the kids. I gotta clothe the kids. And so
Mhm.
I haven't. I've never had the. Well, I shouldn't say never had the luxury, because you always have the option to say no.
Right.
But I really had to think very seriously before I turned down a role when there was a difference between me paying my rent and me being on the street. So, um,
Mhm.
and a lot of it was just, I'm working to, and people say, well, why did you do that role? Well, there was a time. Now, if something came along that really went against my, I don't know, I don't want to say integrity, but went against my beliefs or whatever,
Yes.
uh, that's a different thing. But if
Mhm.
it's work, and so I that's, and I think a little bit of that.
Mhm.
And sometimes people say, well, if Hollywood sees you in all these movies, then you're not special. Sometimes they want to say, we have this person and nobody else has them.
Mm.
But if you're
It's
working on the
facilities.
family business and you're doing this and you're on that, then that changes the perception. And, you know,
You know, that's funny that you say that, Mr. Hudson, because like the Hollywood perception and the public perception,
yeah,
like I literally have in my notes, make sure you tell Mr. Hudson how much we love him. Like we love you. So the Hollywood perception is maybe overexposure. For
yeah,
us, it's like, that's right, Mr. Hudson, stay booked and busy. That's right. So it's
yeah,
like we're happy to be able to see you in all these different roles and places. And it also gives us a feeling or a sense that you're okay.
yeah,
We
yeah,
see you. He's okay. He's still working. He's good.
yeah,
Where
yeah,
you see some actors, even on social media, like it was an actor. I'm not really familiar with a lot of his work, but he was on live talking about how he got laid off from a job and he tried to allude to some other sketchy things going on with the whole
right,
production and who was, in charge of the
right,
production. But for me, when I see you, it's not a sense of overexposure. It's like, oh, Mr. Hudson, good. Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Hudson in this. Okay, now we jamming.
right.
So, that's how we look at it. But I could see how it's complicated on both ends
Yeah,
because it's almost
yeah,
like you're in the middle, you
right.
know?
So then that's when you come back to, okay, God, this is in your hands. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? This is being presented to me. I don't necessarily see how this can lead to whatever, but I'm trusting you. The fact that it's presented and presented in a certain way, obviously we have to consider things. There's money, there's a whole lot of reasons of,
Yeah.
but if this lines up, then, and in my heart, I feel it's okay, I'm going to go with it. Now, somebody else might say that was a bad choice and maybe you shouldn't have done that. I don't know. That's and a lot of times too, I've found, and this doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, but sometimes when an actor comes in, he's determined he's going to be the handsome leading man. That's all he's
Mhm.
going to do. When he's on a set, a lot of times they bring that energy with them. Like I don't do this or
Mhm.
I don't do that, or the director wants me to do whatever. Now, there's certain things I don't do, or I'll say to the director, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
But I want to tell this story. And I know it's a story that the writers have written. So I'm committed to the project. If I'm working with an actor and he's having issues, if there's something I can help, I don't try to get into somebody else's performance, but I'm there to support you. I'm not there to make sure that my hair is in the right thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
How's
so
my lighting? How's my
yeah,
lighting?
right. Yeah. I'm the, I don't have that image of Ernie Hudson.
Right.
I'm doing the character.
Hmm.
Now, I will say a lot of actors, good friends, they may do the character, but that's how I want to be seen. I'm the one to carry the, I'm this is, you know, this you're going to see me. They're doing a version of them that they like, and I love me,
Hmm. We
a
do too.
lot.
We do too.
But this ain't me in this Hand of Rocks and Cradle. I gotta be honest about who this
Yeah.
person is and
Hmm.
try to tell his story. And a lot of people I've met don't necessarily feel that way. You know.
Wow. Yeah, I can understand that. Hmm. Well, I would like to champion for you to get the action hero, leading man, handsome, romantic love interest, because Mr. Hudson, respectfully, we saw you on the red carpet when you
Yeah.
had to pop out and show them and remind them in case they forgot that Mr. Hudson is indeed him. That's what the young people say. He, him. Yes, that you are
Uh,
indeed him. So let's talk about that a little bit. How did you handle all the fanfare and the rah rah and the hold on, wait a minute, stop the carpet. Mr. Hudson is here. Body is blessed.
thank you.
And you really, really surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why. Like I said, I've always, been, in a healthy condition.
Mhm.
I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't go to the gym and lift a lot of weights and try to do a lot of stuff. So that's not,
Right.
and I think when people work really hard to build something, they feel differently about their bodies. You know what I mean? They're kind of, and
Yeah.
that, no, I never had to do that. So
Okay.
that's not my, I don't bring that kind
Talk
of
your talk,
energy,
Mr. Hudson. Talk your
to it,
talk.
So once again, I'm trusting God. So it's,
Right, right.
but yeah. So I will say though, when suddenly the, the internet took notice, I thought, oh, well, maybe this will mean, I got to be on the cover of at least, some fitness magazine, or
Yeah.
maybe somebody's going to come and say, hey, we'd like you to, you know, represent our product, or that
Yeah.
something would come out of it.
Mhm.
Because in a lot of it, you get a lot of attention, but it doesn't equate to work. It doesn't equate to
Yeah.
money. It doesn't. It's just that, I'm like,
Mhm.
well, I'm flattered, but what does that mean? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like, well, and so now
And
you say,
yes.
and we have this product, we're going to give you $2 million. So I'm like, okay, that I get that.
Yeah.
Or we saw you, and we're gonna create this movie that's just for you. And okay, but it's like, you think I'm got a good physique, and I'm like, so, yeah,
I am truly surprised to hear how many people dropped the ball on that, because that would have been my first thought. Like, we need to get him in some fitness magazines and some health products, gym memberships paying you. Like, someone really dropped the ball on that one.
yeah. No, I didn't even get a free gym membership. So,
What
so
world?
now it's not over. Maybe things happen. I'm always hopeful. But
Mhm.
also, I think now, unlike the past, there are people are self-promoting. A
Yes.
couple of people on, a few people on Family Business, they show me their
Yeah.
social media account, and
Mhm.
we're gonna do this video, we're gonna post it, and like, really, because I ain't doing none of that. I'm like, okay, so maybe, if I promoted that and got a few million followers, but in my world, it,
Mhm.
or at least is how I see it. At this stage of my life, I'm not trying to do all that. If you got a project, you want to work with me, I like the project, I'm down, let's go. But if
Yeah.
you want me now, and now all of them really, I want you to post this on your this, I want you to do this, I want you to tweet somebody.
Mhm.
Nope,
Yeah.
I'm that's not, and I think a lot of people who are, I'd say, over the age of 65
Mhm.
kind of feel like I do. You know what I mean? I just don't want to. I don't want to be checking. I don't want to hear what they have to say about. I just, no, that ain't going to happen.
Yep.
Now, some things because it is, you have to. There are people who will, monitor that and say, Ernie, you need to do this and that. And what I have to do, I will do. But I'm not trying to build up so many and get paid. That's one of the guys
Right.
on the benefits. Ernie, you can get paid. I mean, if you do that, I'm like, that's not, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, and maybe that has something to do with it too. Probably if I really got into that and build
Mhm.
up enough followers, um,
You know, I was thinking about that last night because I was like, sometimes I go off into these thought spirals. And I was like, social media is almost like another world, right? We have the
yeah,
real world that we live in with our families, loved ones, jobs, real people. And then the moment that we pick up our phones and we log into these apps or we open our phones, it's
yeah,
almost like we're transporting ourselves, our energy, our
Yeah.
thought processes and everything into an app
Yeah.
that everyone has access to. And like,
Yeah.
I watch people crash out on social media.
Yeah.
I watch people embarrass themselves, ruin their careers. Yes,
Mm,
people can make money on social media, but you can also lose money on social media. Even with me, I've been in this industry for 15 years,
wow.
and I reached out to interview someone because I feel like I do a good job at interviews, Mr.
Right.
Hudson. I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but toot, right?
Yeah.
And the response was, well, how many followers do you have?
Mhm.
And I'm like, but I have all of these interviews here that you can see that I am respectful, I'm thoughtful, I have these meaningful conversations. Okay, but how many followers do you have? So I totally understand your viewpoint on that. Like, if you
Right.
don't have to deal with that, so be it.
Yeah.
But it is a give and take with it,
It is a give
So
and take with it. Yeah. And
yeah.
if you, and if, and now I will say, if I were, say, if I were 40 or 30 or
Mhm.
20 or whatever, it makes total sense. I would
Right.
be, because you're trying to build that. I'm trying to build that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I think you never, or I never got as much money as I had hoped I would have, but I got
Mhm.
enough to where I'm like, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it ain't gonna make or break whatever. It's not gonna change my lifestyle. Now, if somebody came along with enough money, there is a certain amount of money that would change.
Okay.
You
Then
know,
I'll run your socials for you.
right? But otherwise, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I don't
All
really.
right.
Um, but then also it helps, knowing what your needs and your desires are. There's nothing I'm trying. I got the things that I thought I wanted.
Mhm.
I've been blessed to experience that or have that. I tell my wife, if there's anything you ever dreamed of, ever wanted, now's the time. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
time to do it because
Let's
uh,
go.
let's go. I'm not worried about leaving whatever to the kids. Whatever's left
Mhm.
behind, I'm sure they'll fight over it. But in the meantime, let's enjoy this. But I will say, there's nothing I'm really uh, willing to sacrifice
Mhm.
a lot for. Now, I say that and then it just flashed in my mind. I do need to sit down at some point, and I've talked about writing a book.
Yes.
So I need to take that more serious because time is getting on. But so that's the one
Yeah.
thing that maybe. But otherwise, no, I'm. But and also looking for. I would love for the right role to come along that I really. What you want, I think, is I want to have something that I'm willing to work for. I'm willing to dig deep for. I'm willing to kind of
Mhm.
go beyond my comfort zone to find new territory. I'm willing to um, yeah, that I'm always looking for that. But
What do they call that? Like the defining role? Is that what it's called? Like the defining
yeah,
role?
yeah, I think so. I saw the role of Jamie Foxx when he did Ray. I always
Mhm.
that was a role that might come along once in a lifetime, and where you go, okay. I think I
Mhm.
felt that way on stage. I did this play called The Great White Hope. James Earl
Mhm.
Jones did it on
Mhm.
Broadway and in the movie, but I did it for about 2 years, and with that play, every night it just took all of me. It just took all of me, and I love that. I love, you go to places that, and I haven't found that necessarily in movies. There have been movies I've worked hard on,
Right.
but so a lot of times now people say, well, Ernie, we really love your work and we'd like you to be in our movie, but we only need you for like a day, and it's a part of this, but and I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm not looking. I'm looking to work. I'm not
Right.
looking for. I think people think when you reach a certain age, you just want to be in something just to say you're active. That's not where I am right now. It may come a time when I'm like, you know what I mean? How long you need me for? I'm going to be home by
Mhm.
noon, or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not now. I wanna have to dig deep and show up 100%.
Mhm.
And yeah, so
Have you ever thought about writing that role?
yeah, I started out as a writer. I went to Yale Graduate School as a playwright, and but I was when my marriage ended during that time, and the kids came with me. Um, I found writing was difficult to get paid. You know what I mean? You could have
Mhm.
meetings, they suggest changes, they won't do this, won't do that. And like, but in the meantime, the landlord is knocking on my door.
Right.
You know what I mean? The car is about out of gas. The kids are asking for bicycles. So what
Mhm.
I found with acting is it's immediate. If I go into an audition, especially in those days, I'm not sure how it is now, but if they say we like you, we want to use you, and then tomorrow they change their mind, I still get paid.
Oh,
So that was
okay.
immediate. I got to get this job, and it was easy to focus on. I don't care about all the roles that I'm giving to whatever. I need this role. Let me focus here, and that kind of made sense to me. Writing became uh, just not as important as the kids, and because after leaving the set, I got to get home. I got to make sure the kids are squared away, and there was no uh, money to pay some nanny or somebody. I wanted to be there with my kids
Right.
in a way that nobody was there for me. I didn't have a dad, and I never knew my dad. And my mom got pregnant in East St. Louis, but came down with tuberculosis and came up to Michigan to be with her family. So none of the family were around when she met my father. So nobody else knew who he was. So it wasn't just that I didn't know, and nobody else knew. And so having that missing thing in my space in my life, the one thing I wanted to do was to be a dad. More than
Yeah.
anything else, I want to be a dad. And so, okay, what were we talking about?
No, you were talking about no, you were talking about I asked you if you thought about writing, and
Oh
you
yeah,
basically
yeah,
said, that
right. And so that was the most important thing for me to do. I thought when I reach a certain age, then it'll naturally come back.
okay.
But now it's like, man, it's you know, I used to find the joy in the writing as much as
Mhm.
the acting. The joy of, it's almost like you can build a universe, it's like you
Mhm.
can, like being a builder, and every word is like a little brick to build this thing. And the discipline to sit down is challenging um, when there are other demands being put on you. And so
Yeah.
I keep saying I'll get to it, but it's almost like me getting to the gym.
Well, you look like you're not missing any days at the gym. But I just want to put this on your radar, Mr. Hudson. Now, if you should decide to write this film, I was Chicken Little in The Sky is Falling in first grade.
Right.
And I just need to let you know that there wasn't a dry eye in the house after I gave my performance of The Sky is Falling. So if you need a role filled, I'm just letting you know, I'm your girl.
All
I'm your
right.
girl.
All right. Yeah, no, I will definitely keep that in mind, and I admire you doing what you do as well, building something, and I can see your spirit and your heart is into it, the enthusiasm. So just yeah, so you're an inspiration. So you helped me already.
I really, truly appreciate your kind words. That means the world to me. So let's talk about some upcoming projects because I will sit here and chat with you all day, Mr. Hudson, and I know you have other things to do. So Carl Weber's The Family Business, season 5. People are begging for season 6 already.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I saw
Right.
where Mr. Weber said he's currently writing season 6,
Well,
but
we
season
no, we
no.
no, we're season 6 is coming out.
Oh, it's already okay. So it's okay. So it's getting ready to come out.
Get ready to come out. Yeah, I think October. I don't want to give a wrong day, but I think it's like 23rd.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
it's coming up
then,
in a couple of weeks. Yeah. In fact, I'm
okay. So
starting to
then,
do press for it, so I know it's definitely coming
cool.
up. Yeah. So that's season 6. Now Netflix was carrying it up
1 through 4.
to 1 to 4, and
Mhm.
now I'm not sure if that deal is still on the table. So I'm not sure how long it'll be on
Now,
Netflix,
when I
but
when I
definitely BET.
recently checked, it said that the 1 through 4, and I'm just putting this out there so people, if you want to watch, you need to go on head over there and take care of it. I think 1 through 4 is on Netflix until the 23rd. So I guess 1 through 4 will leave on the 23rd when season 6 drops on BET Plus.
Probably that sounds right. I'm
Okay.
the last guy to
Okay.
know, but that sounds right. So
Okay.
yeah, season 6, and I gotta say he impressed me. Carl
Yeah.
is amazing as a
He
writer. I
keeps
mean,
upping the
he,
ante, I tell you.
yeah, and this season was season 6 is pretty amazing, and yeah, I'm very proud of that show and Carl and all the people involved. You know, it's a little engine that could, and
Yeah.
without a lot of money, still, you know, the network really does not put a lot of money into it, but it's such an amazing group of people and the cast, and yeah, I'm very thankful to be a part of it. You
And I
know,
mean, spinoffs and everything.
yeah,
So, we
yeah,
got New Orleans now. So I'm
yeah.
just congratulations on all of that.
Well, the I have nothing to do with the others, but it's nice to know that the one we built is solid
Mhm.
enough that they can venture out and do it.
Spinoff. Yeah. And then we had Boston Blue premiering on
Yeah.
October 17th on CBS, where you play a Baptist pastor, Mr. Reverend Edwin Peters.
Yes. Yes.
There
And
it is.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really exciting because I wasn't sure. For this, I'm sorry. This
Uh, that's the
per-
Lord shining his light on you.
right. Yeah. It's kind of hard to get the lighting right here, but
It's okay.
so the yeah, Edwin Peters is sorry. I don't want to get too dark in here, but oh, okay. All
There you
right,
go.
we're gonna move around and finally get it right
Uh-huh.
somehow. So
Probably
okay,
go.
all right. This
There you
way,
go. Yep.
uh, is that the best way? Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I love this character, and I love, you know, in family business, he's a, I guess, mob family boss,
Yeah.
whatever. But
He
this is a Baptist minister. You know, I grew up in a family. Uh, okay. Um, you know, I grew up in the church, Church of God in Christ, Kojic, and until I was about 18 years old. My grandmother wanted me to be a minister, and that I realized that was never going to happen. Um, but she kept her hopes up. So now finally, I'm a minister on TV,
There it is.
and I love this character. I love, you know, his moral center, and I wasn't sure how they were going to include that in a police procedural show, but it's really become, the writers are amazing, and the character, I love the character. He has two daughters. I have four sons, and
Mhm.
so Gloria Rubin plays my daughter, who's a DA. Shaniqua, she get a last name. I might
Is
look
it
it up.
Senqua?
Yeah,
Senqua? Am I saying it right?
Shaniqua. She was on Star Trek, and
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Beautiful,
Okay,
beautiful
so
actress.
she's my granddaughter. She is beautiful and an amazing actress. She's my
Mhm,
granddaughter. Marcus, who was on Blackish, played the son on that.
mhm.
I don't know his last name either. I'm sorry. Names are
Scribner. I think it's
okay.
Scribner. I think
And
I know that one because I'm a huge Blackish fan, so I think it's Scribner.
he's my grandson, and Maggie, who was on Psych, and I can't think of
Mhm.
her last name. I better get these names down because it's so embarrassing. But so he's so it's my, and they're all Marcus is a rookie, and
Mhm.
Shaniqua is a detective, and Maggie is police superintendent. So they're all in law enforcement in some way or other, and they're also my daughter Gloria um, married a Jewish guy, and so they've converted to Judaism,
Mm.
and which was kind of a challenge for me to kind of make peace with. But you recognize that family is the most important thing, and that
Right.
love for his children. Um, Took a little adjusting, but like he says, I don't care how you pray as long as you pray.
Mhm.
So, but I love this character. I wasn't sure how they were going to, you know, make it make sense, but it does, and it's just yeah, it's so much fun. It's just a wonderful role to play. I'm really very happy to
Yeah.
be a part of it. You know, it took me a minute to kind of see, because I'm like, okay, I'll do the guys, the two Brandons I mentioned, Sonia and
Yes.
Margolis. They did a show called LA's Finest that I was on.
Yes,
You know,
Gabrielle Union and yeah.
yeah, I played Gabrielle's dad, And
Mhm.
so these same guys are producing this show, a spinoff from Blue Bloods.
Yeah, Blue Bloods is
So yeah, so
great.
it's centers around family, the family dinner, but it also, you know, all those issues. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm excited. That's going to premiere. I know it's in October 17th.
October 17th on
Uh,
CBS, exactly 2 months before your 80th birthday.
that's right. Yeah, that's it.
December 17th. Do you have any birthday plans?
No, I thought about uh, it might be nice to get all my kids and grandkids and
Mhm.
great grandkids and everybody together. I'm just logistically, I'm not sure how to do that with everybody working and being in college and but they're working on it. So it would be nice because it's been difficult to do that. Usually someone's available and someone's, you know, but to get everybody under one roof to sing happy birthday. And I have this phobia of parties. Uh,
Really?
I've never given a party. My wife gave me a 50th birthday party, and I just kind of, yeah, yeah, parties are. I'm always afraid that I'll throw a party and nobody will show up, and it'll
Oh,
be
you
awkward.
sound like
And
me.
you know, I just, yeah,
You
I'm
sound
not
like
that party guy. I was doing a play in Los Angeles, and in fact, uh, when I got the scholarship to go to Yale,
Mhm.
and the night I was to fly to Yale, um, my friends were doing this play, and they said, "No, Ernie, you know, we're going to give a party. You leaving, man? We, you know, so we're going to get everybody come over, and it's going to be." So the one friend, Ebony Wright, held it at her house. And so, and I was like, I don't really kind of, no, man, we gotta celebrate, brother. You leaving? So about 10 o'clock, I went over there, and it was just me and Ebony. I didn't even ask for this. I'm like, you know, I just want to get on the plane. You know what I mean? These are supposed to be really close friends, but like nobody's here. So I
What?
sat there about an hour, 11 o'clock,
Oh.
and nobody here. And I just said, so I said, well, you know, Ebony, yeah, I got to get up in the morning. So I left. Now, I was told around midnight, everybody showed up,
Everybody popped out. Mhm,
but
mhm.
I didn't see that. So I'm like, I will now, it's
Oh,
too awkward. And so, but I think kids, that might be a little different, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I just I have a thing about parties, you know.
I understand.
I've thrown a couple parties for my wife,
Mhm.
but then you know, I know people will show up for her because she's just a
Yeah.
different relationship than I
Mhm.
feel, you know. Anyway, so I don't
Wow.
know. I'm not sure what I
Mhm.
will actually do, but it'll be something. And sometimes maybe nothing is, you know,
The
birthdays.
best.
I've for years I always had a job worked on my birthday.
Oh.
So I'm not sure. I may have to work this year, but um, yeah, my birthday has always been, yeah, for almost the first, geez, 40 years.
Mhm.
I'd be working, and I always found that as a good omen to be
Yeah.
working. Yeah,
Well, I sincerely appreciate you spending time with me again today. This has truly been an honor and a
thank
pleasure.
you.
And in closing, I just want you to know how much we love you and how much we revere you. And may the Lord continue to bless and keep you. And happy early birthday, because I'm a December baby too.
Oh, really? When's your birthday?
December 30th.
December 30th. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think, you
Yeah.
know, I think my mother was like the 29th.
Hmm.
So right there. Yeah, no, December. I love December babies. So happy early birthday to you as well. And
Yeah.
you know, thank you. And I'm gonna keep that sky is falling in mind. So
Just have your people reach out to me.
right. Well, just keep being incredible, keep doing what you do, and just you know where to find me if you ever need me.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. And it was an honor and pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. You take
All
care.
right.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.